It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of 2007. What we have here are the last 7 films released in the year 2007, the weekend of December 28th. Most of these movies open up on Christmas Day, December 25th, of course. But we have another wide assortment of different films. Some good, some bad, some in-between films, but we will delve into all those as we go along here. But let's get to the show here. Let's start with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is, of course, Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Because when I think of a perfect movie to release on Christmas Day, I think of an R-rated horror film. Because clearly those do very well around the holidays, right?
Nobody's home.
It was outside the window.
You just had a bad nightmare. What the hell was that? Get out! Jesse, go! Oh my God, get out of the water! You see? No monster. What in the hell is that? Hold on! Go, go, go! Everyone on the back! Colonel, the town's completely overrun. What's the Army's evacuation plan?
There's an airlift in 30 minutes.
The Colonel's lying. The Army thinks about containment first. If I'm right,
We're all dead.
Yeah. I think you can pretty much see from this trailer everything that's wrong with this movie. First of all, why the hell are you releasing this on Christmas Day? Like, really? What do you think people are going to see on Christmas Day? Why do you think people are going to go see this on Christmas Day when they have a wide assortment of other movies that they can go and see? And not just family films. You know, there's bigger blockbusters that people can go and see and be more entertained by than anything in this piece of shit. No, really, this is a piece of shit movie. This thing makes the original Alien vs. Predator look like the original Alien and Predator films by comparison. It's that bad of a movie. Set immediately after the events of the previous film, the film begins with a Predator ship crashing into a forest outside of Gunnison, Colorado, where an alien-Predator hybrid known as the Predalien escapes and makes its way to a nearby small town. A skilled, veteran cleaner Predator is dispatched to kill the Predalien, and the townspeople try to escape the ensuing carnage. And, yeah. Once again, you can see everything that's wrong with this movie. I mean, a good idea to bring the fight between the alien and Predator to the Earth. Unfortunately, there's nothing else about this movie that makes it worth it. I mean, but hey, at least we get dime store Ellen Ripley played by that actress from 24, not named Alicia Cuthbert or Kim Raver or Marilyn Reichkub or Cherry Jones. I don't even remember how to say her name. Rico Islesworth, who was she on 24? Michelle Dessler. I haven't seen 24 in years, so I can't really tell you. But we also have Stephen Pascal. He's been in some stuff. I mean, he was in Rescue Me. And you got John Ortiz, that guy from the Fast and Furious movies. So there's that. If those are your biggest names in the movie, then you have a bad way to go here with this film. And yeah, it also doesn't help that the film is just all around bad. The lighting in here is absolutely terrible, or the lack of lighting, I should say. This is a bleak, dark movie, and not because of the material, the subject matter, or its R rating. No, you can't see shit in this movie. You can't see anything at all. Like, this thing, I don't know what they were thinking when they made this film. But then again, I wouldn't trust the directors, the directing duo of the Brothers Strauss, the guys who followed this wonderful masterpiece of a movie up with their next film, which was, I believe it was, they were the guys that also did Skyline, too. Remember that great film? I know I don't. I mean, it's like, these guys started off as visual effects guys, and yeah, that's where they should have stayed at here. But on top of that, everybody in this movie is so stupid. Everybody in this movie is so pointless. They're your stock characters. There's nothing of worthiness going on in this movie. At least in a movie like Alien vs. Predator, the original. Once they killed off the main character, all the other characters in the movie, and it was just Sanan Lathan and the Predator teaming up to take on the alien, and it suddenly became like a silent movie in a little bit of a way. That was a much better movie than anything in this film here. I hate Paul W.S. Anderson, but I at least got to give him credit for doing that in that movie to make that film somewhat memorable. This, on the other hand, no, it's just a bad movie. It's the worst thing to come out of Alien and Predator, and that's saying a lot, because there's been some pretty bad Alien movies, and there's only been one bad Predator movie, and coincidentally it was the one by Shane Black, which is hard to believe, but no, this is definitely up there with the worst of the worst, if not the worst thing to come out of both of these franchises. This is that terrible film. It was a bad idea to release this on Christmas Day, because, yeah, nobody is going to go spend their holiday season watching this pile of garbage. Nobody. And I mean, it wasn't a big hit overall, but then again, it didn't cost a whole lot of money to make, so they obviously made their money back. But it was definitely a less successful film than the first film was. And yeah, this was just a terrible film. So yeah, avoid this one like the plague. See the other far better Alien and Predator movies. And yeah, Robert Rodriguez will have one with Predators coming up in about 2-3 years time, and then Ridley Scott will try to bring the magic back with Prometheus, and he sort of makes it work, and then it doesn't really end up well at all. But yeah, this was a bad movie, plain and simple. Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Avoid it like the plague. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next film we have here, and that is The Water Horse, Legend of the Deep.
This Christmas,
I'll take care of him. He came from the native. He's very friendly.
from Walton Media, who brought you the Chronicles of Narnia,
How'd you grow so fast?
comes the most wondrous film of its kind since E.T. Did you see it? Incredible fantasy adventure. A perfect holiday film. The Water Horse, rated PG, in theaters Christmas Day.
So in the story of The Water Horse, you have a young boy who discovers a mysterious egg and cares for what hatches out to be a water horse, loosely based on the Celtic water horse, which later becomes the fabled Loch Ness Monster. And this is actually based off of a story by Dick King-Smith, who also was the guy behind Babe. And all times this could definitely be on the same level of Babe in terms of an entertaining movie overall. It's not a bad movie per se, just not a really great one to me. I think really the biggest problem with it overall is that it's just another E.T. clone. I mean, we've seen E.T. perfect this formula to a T, and we've seen so many movies that have tried to copy that formula. Some have worked, some have not so much worked. This is definitely in the category of ones that works well enough to say that for what it is, a family film overall, it's a good movie overall, but again, nothing really that significant about it, nothing too amazing about it. The visuals are okay to look at. I mean, the water horse himself looks pretty cool, and the Loch Ness Monster himself looks pretty cool overall. The cast overall, not too bad. Emily Watson, David Morrissey, Ben Chaplin, Alex Attell, Brian Cox. This is directed by Jay Russell, who did Ladder 49, which is a movie I really liked. And yeah, for what this movie is, it's passable. It's nothing too amazing, nothing too spectacular, but if you are looking for a kid's film if you like E.T. overall and you want to find a movie that's similar to this that works, this works pretty well for what it is. Like I said, The Water Horse, Legend of the Deep, nothing too amazing about it, but a good fun time overall. Not bad it's mostly kids will enjoy the heck out of it. Adults will enjoy just enough overall, so. Not much more to say about that one, so let's go ahead and move on to the next film we have here, and that is Denzel Washington's The Great Debaters.
You to try out for the debate team.
He was more than a teacher.
I am here to help you keep your righteous mind.
They were more than just a team.
I've never seen this side of you before.
I'm happy when I'm out here.
And together, they would do more than they ever dreamed.
I wish to extend an invitation to debate at Harvard University.
This Christmas, when we believe in each other, anything is possible.
My message to you is to never quit.
The Great Debaters, rated PG-13.
This is, of course, Denzel Washington's directorial follow-up to Antoine Fisher, which was a good movie overall, and this one's pretty good too. It follows the trials and tribulations of the Wiley College during the debate team in 1935 Texas, and it has Washington among the cast, along with Forrest Whitaker, Denzel Whitaker, Kimberly Elise, Nate Parker, Gina Rivera, Jermaine Williams, and Journey Smollett. And it's got John Hurt also in the cast as well. Again, kind of like with Waterhorse Legend of the Deep, it's a movie we've seen done over and over again. It's nothing too amazing, nothing too spectacular, but for what it is, it works fine for what it is. It's a film that I think elevates itself above a lot of these other movies that are very similar to it. And it's one of those ones that, yeah, we've seen it done to death before so many times, but you have so many stacked people involved in the making of the film, not just Denzel Washington and Forrest Whitaker. Oprah Winfrey's one of the producers. This is a very interesting story to tell. I think it elevates it enough to say that it is a film you should definitely check out. If you like some of Washington's other directorial efforts, like Antoine Fisher, and especially Fences, which I think is his best directorial effort overall, this works very well, and it's Denzel Washington. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. He's our greatest living actor, and even a guy like him can elevate a film like this that would have been so easily so mediocre and melodramatic. He elevates it to another level, and for that, it works enough on its own to say that it's one you should definitely check out. So yeah, I recommend The Great Debaters. Kind of like with The Water Horse, nothing too amazing, nothing too spectacular, but it's good enough for a one-time watch. With that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next film we have here, and that's Rob Reiner's latest film starring Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. It's The Bucket List.
Bucket list. The list of all things to do before we kick the bucket. We can do this. The bucket list. Proud of you. Nobody cares what you think. Rated PG-13. Now playing in select cities everywhere January 11th.
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what the movie is about. You have Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman as two terminally ill men on a road trip with a wish list of things that they want to do before they kick the bucket, hence why it's called The Bucket List. And this was actually based off of an idea from the writer of this, Justin Zachman, who coined the expression bucket list after he wrote his own list of things to do before I kick the bucket and shortened it to Justin's Bucket List. And the first item on the list was apparently get this made by a major studio, and lo and behold, this is exactly what happens. Warner Brothers picks it up, and you get a pretty enjoyable film overall. A little generic, yes, but you've got two of our greatest actors, Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman, working off each other. You're going to get a good movie here regardless. It's a really enjoyable film. Very formulaic, very predictable, but it's Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman doing what they do best here, and who else hasn't had an idea of what they want to do before they die? I mean, I think we all have that idea out there, but until we know for certain that we're going to die eventually, like, I think nobody is really putting it down on paper yet, but I know I certainly haven't, but yeah, the film overall is pretty good. Like I said, it's very generic at times. It is very formulaic when it needs to be, is what it is, and kind of manipulative at times, but for what they're trying to accomplish here, I think it did its job pretty well here. It's a really good movie with two great actors doing what they do best. A pretty good soundtrack with a really good John Mayer song, "Say What You Need to Say," which is absolutely incredible. I can't believe I forgot this actually came from that movie. And apparently a lot of people were really buying it. I said sucker, but they were really into this movie because when it was released wide, it actually became a massive hit. It was the #1 hit at the box office that weekend it came out in wide release and went on to gross $175 million worldwide. So there was an audience for this movie, and it works very well. It's one of Rob Reiner's great late films overall. Really good film overall. I've said great, but not. It's a good film. I should rephrase that. It's a good film from Rob Reiner, who had not made a good movie in a while, and I don't know. I thought this one was really good. I enjoyed it. Definitely check it out. The Bucket List. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next one we have here, and that is the Guillermo del Toro presentation, The Orphanage.
Everything around her begins to vanish. Now she's alone in the darkness. 4, 3, 2, 1. You can open your eyes.
I'd actually never seen that trailer before. Holy shit, that was pretty good. But this is The Orphanage. This is the directorial debut for Juan Antonio Bayona, who would later go on to direct A Monster Calls, and most notably Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. In this movie, you have a woman named Laura who returns to her childhood home, an orphanage, and she plans to turn the house into a home for disabled children. However, after an argument with Simon, her adopted son, he goes missing, and that leads to the chaos that ensues from here. And this is, of course, Guillermo del Toro, who last year gave us Pan's Labyrinth, and this definitely feels like an old-school Guillermo del Toro film that really is a pretty intense and terrifying film when it needs to be. The tension and moments in this film are very good. This is a film that does not rely on cheap jump scares like that, unlike that trailer that we just saw, because yeah, as good as that trailer is, it's pretty obvious they're going for the cheap jump scares in that one. But in the movie itself, though, it's anything but those cheap jump scares. These are legitimately good, terrifying, chilling moments that happen in this movie. And yeah, most of it is done with subtitles when those moments happen. And yeah, it adds to the level of tension in those scenes in general. It's a very intense film, and it works really well. It's definitely one of the most underrated horror movies of recent memory, and one that really shows what Juan Antonio Bayona is capable of doing here. That's why I really loved what he did with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom at the end of the movie. Just, he takes a lot of what he did with The Orphanage and puts it into the final 20 minutes of that movie, where it's just the dinosaur going after the kid. And yeah, it's definitely one of the best moments in the Jurassic Park series in general, from a film that is not that good, is not as good as it is. It's not a bad movie like everybody else says it is, but yeah, I can't argue that it's a good movie overall. I had fun with those. I have fun with most of the Jurassic World movies, and I really would have liked to see what he had done if he had got a chance to do the one after that, Jurassic World 3. But that's a whole other thing altogether. We'll delve more into that when we get to Fallen Kingdom in 2018. But as far as this film goes, it's a really good movie. It's benefited by a great leading performance by Billeen Ruda. You have Fernando Cayo as her husband, and Roger Princep doing a great job as Simon, and Geraldine Chaplin, of course, very good actress overall. It's a really good film. I highly recommend checking it out. If you like Pan's Labyrinth and you like old school Guillermo del Toro movies, you're going to enjoy this one a lot. I highly recommend The Orphanage. So let's go ahead and get to the most notable movie of this weekend, because it was nominated for the is for the Oscars, and of course won an Oscar for Daniel Day-Lewis, and that's Paul Thomas Anderson's latest film, There Will Be Blood.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for visiting with us this evening. Well, I've traveled across half our state to be here and to see about this land. Well, you have a great chance here. Bear in mind, you can lose it all if you're not careful. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that if we do find oil here, this community of yours will not only survive, it will flourish.
The Holy Spirit has grown weary of drunkenness and lying in the world. Have you been doing any of these things?
So There Will Be Blood stars Daniel Day-Lewis as Daniel Plainview, who's a silver miner turned oilman, and he embarks on a ruthless quest for wealth during the Californian oil boom between the late 19th and early 20th century. And he comes across all these different obstacles, including a priest played by Paul Dano, and also has a cast that includes Kevin J. O'Connor, Kieran Hines, and some argue that this should have been the movie that should have won Best Picture that year. And while I can't say for certain that that's the case, I mean, I do like this movie a lot. But if I had to choose between this and No Country for Old Men, or even some of the other nominees, my first choice would have easily been Juno, but No Country for Old Men probably would have been my second choice overall. But no matter how you look at it, this is still a really good movie. This is, of course, Paul Thomas Anderson, who did Boogie Nights and Magnolia. I mean, a lot of great films overall as a director. And this is a film where Daniel Day-Lewis shows why he's such a good actor, because he really does nail this performance down to a T. I mean, some of the most memorable lines of recent memories. I mean, I drank your milkshake. Let me do it the way he says in the movie. I drink your milkshake. Like, I can't do it as good as he does, but the way he says those words, like, you just know that you just can't argue that this is a damn good performance overall. And yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis is a really damn good actor, and he's proven why he's won the 3 Academy Awards for Best Actor over the years. This is definitely one of those films that easily is right up there with one of the best actor performances in the movie. And Paul Dano does a very good job too. He doesn't get enough attention in this particular film, but this is him coming right off of Little Miss Sunshine too, but he shows in this movie the true potential that he has as an actor going forward, because he would do this, and then he would be in 12 Years a Slave, and of course recently following up with the Batman. I mean, the guy has proven how good of an actor he can really be over time. He's not playing the same character he was in Little Miss Sunshine, and he shows it here. He has to really compete with Day-Lewis in this film, and it works absolutely well to a T. There Will Be Blood is a damn good movie. It's definitely one of the best movies of the year. One you have to check out. I mean, this is definitely one of the highlights of the year. It's more than worth it. There Will Be Blood, fantastic film. So with that said, let's go ahead and wrap this up with the last one we have here, and that's the animated feature, Persepolis.
See the movie Rolling Stone calls a mind blower. It's marvelous. 4 stars. It gets a grade A from Entertainment Weekly. It's wonderful, defiant, funny, and tender, not to be missed. Like nothing you've ever seen, Marjan is a sass queen to rival Juno. And now, it's an Academy Award nominee for Best Animated Feature. Wow. The New York Times says, take the kids and don't feel guilty. Persepolis, rated PG-13. Now playing select cities, coming soon to a theater near you.
Another great animated feature from Sony Pictures Classic. I mean, they were the company that brought the Triplets of Belleville to America. And this is another one of those movies that is just so damn good. It's a great coming-of-age story. We have a young girl coming of age against the backdrop of the Iranian Revolution. And this is based off of a graphic novel of the same name. And the animation is just pitch perfect. I mean, this is a really impressively put-together film that might have been overshadowed by Juno. I mean, even in the trailer, that commercial that I showed you, they're literally quoting Juno, and this is sass queens, which I didn't even think that was a term that they used back then for it's in a major review, but I guess they did. But overall, yeah, this is a really impressively made film. It's an animated film that really does come out of nowhere. I had never read the graphic novel that this is based off of, but you can appreciate the animation style in here, and you can appreciate the relativity that anybody could have to the storyline here. It's a really impressively made film, and it was a movie that got several nominations at the Oscars for foreign language film and best animated feature. I really think it should have gotten at least one of them because it is that impressive of a film overall, and it's largely been forgotten too. And it's a shame because it's a really damn good film. It's a film that came from a really strong year of animation that, it unfortunately had to be in the same category of stuff like Ratatouille and Surf's Up, and there was another one. I think there was another one too, or was it only 3 nominations around that time? No, this was back when they only had 3 nominations for Best Animated Feature. I mean, it beat out the Simpsons movie, which I thought would have been a lock, but it just goes to show you that they sometimes just don't want to nominate animated movies based off of TV shows. I mean, it's probably one of the reasons why Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem didn't get a nomination, nor did Transformers 1. Like, the only rare exception to that has been Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which, of course, obviously they had to get a nomination because of how good that movie was. But yeah, bottom line, Persepolis is a really good movie. It's a largely overlooked film that really came and kind of went, because nobody really ever talked about it since it came out, but it's a really damn good movie, and one that definitely deserves to be seen, and one that you should definitely check out. So I highly recommend checking out Persepolis. It's definitely worth a watch. And just like that, we are officially done with the movies of 2007. Sort of. On the next episode, we will jump into the start of 2008. We have one new release that comes out, a remake of a J-horror film, which We're going to get a ton of these coming up in the next couple of months, so be ready for that. Starting with One Missed Call with Edward Burns and Shannon Sossaman. And then, of course, I have my list here of 2007 leftovers. And some notable films to take a look at, including Disney's Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time, Paul Verhoeven's Black Book, Tom and Jerry, A Nutcracker Tale, Eagle vs. Shark, the first film from director Taika Waititi, the horror comedy Black Sheep, Rise Blood Hunter, I've talked about this movie before, Cashback, which is a very weird film in general, Arctic Tale, the film that was supposed to be marketed as the next March of the Penguins, High School Musical 2, and a film I wasn't even going to include on here because it wasn't technically released until 10 years after it was supposed to be released. But I'll throw it in here because I saw the trailer in 2007, and even though it didn't get released until 2017, it never got a theatrical release. It went straight. I think it went straight to Blu-ray through Shout Factory, but the Poughkeepsie tapes. And I know what you're thinking. What about Trick or Treat? Well, Trick or Treat does get a release in 2009, so I'll save that one for my 2009 leftovers. So I'll save that one for... I am going to get to that one at some point, because I know there was a trailer that came out in 2007 for it. It was supposed to come out in October 2007, but then they pushed it back, and for some reason they just didn't. They just kept it on the shelf for 2 years before Warner Brothers decided to just finally release it on DVD. But don't worry, I am going to get to Trick or Treat when we get to 2009. That is definitely the one I'm going to get to. But other than that, though, we've got about 11 movies to look at, so it'll be a very long show coming up tomorrow. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But with all of that said, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, notification button, and the bell, because you get updates on when new videos come out, and we do post new videos here every day. And don't go too far away, because coming up on Time About the Movies Flashback, we're flashing back to July 24th, 1987, with 4 movies including Summer School, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, La Bamba, and Wish You Were Here. So we'll take a look at those films from 1987 coming up on Time About the Movies Flashback. That'll be coming up after I'm done posting this, so please stick around because we will be right back with that.